If you ever posted a little black square during 2020, then this is for you, mama. Hi, my name is Zoe. I love being Zoe, and today I'm going to talk about whiteness. It's not that funny. I was talking about this on my stories the other day. I want to talk about it again with the actual microphone because I really think that it's such an important topic. A little bit about me and my background. I work with my ancestors. I am an intuitive. I've been reading cards since I was 11 and have been diving into my practice and what that looks like with the help of my mentor and friend, Flo. You should totally check her out, by the way. But something that I've learned in my studies is that where you come from is one of the most important things to your identity, to the core of who you are. Something that I don't think a lot of white people understand is that whiteness, I said it before and I'll say it again, whiteness is not a culture, it's a violent system. It's something that white people don't realize that they were stripped from, right? Because white was a made-up title. It was a made-up title so that you can strip yourself of the culture that you come from. Because white people are immigrants, okay? We didn't just... indigenous folks are the only people, are literally the only people that are actually native to this land. And you had people who were English, who were British, who were Nordic, who were Scottish, who were Czech, who were Italian, who were Spanish. All these people who came from Europe and came over here and colonized the shit out of America, what we now know as America. They still came from somewhere. They still came from somewhere. And whiteness allowed them, some people very willingly assimilated, right? And other people were able to maintain some of where they came from. Shout out Italians. But the thing is that every single white person comes from somewhere. And a huge reason why we're in the society that we live in is because, like I said, whiteness is a system. It's not a culture. It's something that strips white people, assuming that I'm talking to a white person right now. This video, that's my target audience with this, because white people love to be in black people's business. We need to be in white people's business because there's a lot to deconstruct. And if you ever posted a little black square during 2020, then this is for you, mama. And that's not to come with shame, because shame is something that is embedded in whiteness. That's just to come with grief that I'm sorry that you don't know about these things. And I'm sorry that the education system failed you and me and so many other people when it came to this country's history and when it came to your personal history. Your ancestry is one of the most important things that you can learn for yourself. It is something that connects you back to your roots. It's something that connects you back to where you come from. And that's the thing. You need something to identify with. You need a root to be able to go back to ground yourself in. You deserve to learn what the food, the culture, the wear, the communication styles that came with your people. You have people. You have a people. And there's so much latching onto the black community because black Americans have created a culture for themselves that white people are jealous of, are struck by. And you can see the jealousy from the way that, people that look like me replicate black culture. And if white people knew where they came from, white culture isn't a thing. That's the thing. That's why white people have no culture. It's because they want you to think that. They want you to think that. But if you realized that where you come from was also stripped from you, I would hope that you would get a little angry about that. I would hope that you would get a little upset over the fact that you don't know where your family comes from. I know where my family comes from. My family immigrated from Colombia. My family immigrated from some of England, some of Italy. We have family in Jamaica, and there's a really rough history with why that is. And working with your ancestors and deconstructing where your family comes from also helps you to recognize and understand how you play a role in today's society. I'm going to tell you something really fucked up, but it's part of my family's history, is that when I looked all the way back, I saw that, my family did a lot of things in Jamaica. Like my ancestry, my white, my British, my English ancestors were part of the colonization process for Jamaica. And yeah, does that make me deeply uncomfortable? Absolutely. And it's just a fact. No, I cannot go back in time myself, but what I can do is course correct it in this lifetime as much as I can, especially for my indigenous ancestry and for, I have so many ancestors that were unfortunately at the demise of colonization and didn't have the opportunity to maintain their cultures. And part of the reason why I'm even a white presenting person comes from the fact that my family was taught to be light. That deeply disappoints me, considering all the lies that we were told that whiteness would save you, that whiteness would protect you. Whiteness doesn't protect you from shit. It doesn't protect you from shit. All it does is it breeds hatred and resentment and paternalism and perfectionism and black or white thinking and worship of the written word. And I'm going to link a document that shows you whiteness culture, because whiteness culture and corporate culture in America, capitalism, all these things go hand in hand with each other, because whiteness makes you a human doing, not a human being. That's something that I have always found so interesting, that the world doesn't have to be this way. The world actually didn't have to be this way. It started with a thought. It started with the idea. It started with a justification of violence, of murder, of mass murder. There's a genocide happening in right now. I may have to bleep that out just so this doesn't get shadow banned. And excuse me, because I mean really no disrespect. I just want this message to get out there. But this is the history of our country, unfortunately. And so much of that reason is because a lot of white people have taken the bait and have decided that whiteness is their identity. And when whiteness really becomes your identity, it traps you in this fucking box. That's evil. It's an evil box to be trapped into. And I mean, there are so many things in my brain that I am deconstructing on a day-to-day basis, I'm not trying to point a finger, right? I was treated as a white woman in this world, considering, but I know who I am, and that gives me a level of confidence and self-love that nobody could take away from me. And I'm a firm believer that if white people knew where they came from, they would be able to get angry, to grieve, and to rebuild loving themselves, because I think that whiteness really just strips you. It strips you. It strips you of everything. And it's not worth it. Some things that you can do to kind of help deconstruct this would literally be to talking to your family and getting an idea of what your family history is, opening up conversations, even just about your grandparents. I think that the preservation and the documentation of life is worth doing, especially when it comes to your family. Whether or not you choose to have kids, it's just for yourself and it's for your lineage. You can start off by talking to your family, gathering pictures, and just really looking at the people first that you come from, right? If you have access, or like you're able to go on to ancestry.com, I would look around and I would do a little research, because especially if you're white, you have way more records than people that are black or brown. One side of my family, I was able to find like my 5th great grandparents, and on my mother's side, my Colombian side, I only was able to get up to my grandparent, like it's 100% worth just trying to see what you can find. And if there's anything that your family can tell you, look into the culture. If you're Irish, look at Ireland's history. See what's up with them, okay? The potato famine was not a fucking famine. The English were using Ireland as a vessel for their own consumption. That has just happened so many fucking times. That has just happened so many fucking times. But there is so much food and dance and customs that are worth keeping alive here. And I just want you to see why. I need you to see the impact of why. And I'll answer it for myself because I cannot answer it for you. But like I said before, where you come from is such a huge pinnacle of your identity. And especially If you come from a people in which that has been heavily documented, why the fuck wouldn't you take advantage of it? Do you understand what a privilege it is to even have family records or history? I feel like the luckiest woman in the world, okay? It has helped me see the world so differently, and it has really led me down a path where I can look for alternative ways of being and doing and thinking, because you don't realize how much it has penetrated your spirit. And that can look like, you know, racing thoughts. It can look like never feeling like you're good enough. It can honestly, it can look like depression. It can look like anxiety, because you have all this pressure on you all the fucking time, in which whiteness plays such a heavy influential role in that. Like, no fucking wonder. No fucking wonder, okay? There's this fabulous book that I have not finished yet, but it's called Sky Full of Elephants. And I'll put the author's name here. And it's an entire book that is about what the world maybe could look like in this man's story, when all white people themselves. And it's so interesting, because something that really stuck out to me was that in this book, the first thing that Black folks did was open up all the prisons. And that really struck me. That really, really, really struck me. When you realize that even if you are a white presenting or a white person, white looking, whatever, in this world, that I don't think that a lot of us would think to do that immediately. And that makes me really fucking sad. But being able to dive into a different world that is so completely different from this and give you that new perspective and way of thinking is worth it. And you're worth it. And you are deserving of learning about who you are, and you're deserving of loving yourself. You're deserving of releasing yourself of shame. I don't necessarily think that you should really feel guilty. I think that there's a lot of talk about like white guilt, because I mean, yeah, I understand it, because it's like, but that's feeling bad about who you think that you are. You get to decide who you are. And I think that if you figure out where you come from, then you would see that you actually have a lot more in common with your neighbor than you think you do. So I'm going to leave it there. And if you want to talk about it more, we can talk about it more. But yeah, I love you all so much. And I want you to love yourself too. And this is a huge way to do it.